Hey folks, welcome back to another edition of My Car Guru, where you learn the ins and outs, the ups and downs of the car business, and how it affects your car life. That's really all that matters, isn't it? Although we delve into the history of the car business, cars in general, I don't know that many people are really interested in the car business, except how it affects them. On this little section of 4-lane road down here in Greenville, Tennessee, we call it the 11E bypass, although when we moved here in 1971, people kept referring to the Lebany bypass. And my mom said, Max, that's my dad, where's Lebany? He said, honey, I don't know. Everybody talks about the Lebany bypass, and nobody seems to know where Lebany is. It was 11E. It's just what we do here in Tennessee. We're poetic. We change words so that nobody outside of this area can even remotely understand them. But I call this little section the gauntlet because it's very dense. The road really closes in there. You don't have the big berms. You have no berm, basically, on each side of the road. There is a turn lane in the middle, but dare not use it. I mean, if you use that turn lane, your life is in jeopardy if you're trying to get into, there's Lowe's and there's a big rental place there and there's multiple grocery stores and shoe stores. It's really just too compact. It needs to be bypassed. It really does. I used to have a little used car lot there, and we suffered from people just not wanting to go into it because it was just too congested there. Well, now they're building a fast food place for cars. That's what I call these fast-lube places. And it's going to be right there in the gauntlet. And people, I guess, when they're in a hurry, say, oh gosh, I need an oil change. They're going to drive in there and feed their vehicle fast food. Now, my cardiologist says that, Lenny, don't eat fast food. Stay away from French fries, anything fried. It's not good for you. You need to put good stuff in. Well, I'm here to tell you that you need to put good stuff in to your vehicle, and your vehicle deserves more than a 5-minute experience at a quick lube place. I know, it's convenient. It's ready when you are. Everything has to be fast in this society now. Instant. We need instant gratification, instant information. How do libraries survive? Who knows? Everything has to be open all the time. I remember when we first moved to Greenville, Tennessee, that none of them, were open on Sunday. There were no liquor stores, and you couldn't buy any type of alcoholic beverages, beer or anything, on Sunday. You could on Saturday. And if you were inventive, you could buy it just about any time you wanted to. That's one of those things that teenagers figure out, right? Unfortunately. Hope there's no teenagers listening. But, there's just certain things that you should not worry about getting done quickly, or cheaply for that matter, because some things are worth paying a little extra for. And one of those things, I believe, is your automotive maintenance. Now, if you're a consumer of everything fast, you don't like waiting. You don't want to wait. You don't really see the value in it. You've always had your oil changed at the fast lube place. When you need tires, you just go to the tire store. When you need a battery, I don't know where you go. And nobody's really looking at your vehicle on a complete basis, actually inspecting it from one end to the other and following the maintenance schedule that's in the owner's manual. Speaking of owner's manual, is your owner's manual in your vehicle still wrapped in plastic in the glove box? I would say that probably 50% minimum are. We sold a Ford Bronco this morning, and the customers were picking it up. And I went to the vehicle because I just wanted to check if my salesperson had done his job. So I opened up the glove box, and the window sticker was in there. The cleanup shop had done their job. They had pulled the window sticker off and stuck it in the glove box. That's what we do. But there was the owner's manual and the warranty book, nicely wrapped in plastic as it came from the factory. That's not how we do it at Gateway. And I went to the salesperson. I said, That's not how we do it at Gateway, right? No, sorry, boss. I was going to get to it. I said, okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I had it in my hand and I handed it to him. And so I think it's important as a car dealer when we're selling a new vehicle to go over some of the documents that are in the glove box. Some cars don't come with manuals anymore. They think everybody has a smartphone or an email address, and they think that's all they have to do. It saves them on paper cost. So they just draw it up one time and then send it to people. And that's good. I can appreciate that. I'm an admirer and lover of technology to a certain extent. But the problem is people just don't look at it. They don't go to the maintenance section and they say, okay, what needs to be done at each mileage interval to be able to keep my car in good shape? The motive for doing that should be to keep your car in good shape and to improve the resale value of your car when you trade it in. To me, that's common sense. How many other things that you own carry value with them as you go down the road over time? Now, granted, cars depreciate, but still, it's probably the second or third or fourth. It's in the top 10, anyway, of assets that you own. And if you take care of it, do you take care of the other stuff? I mean, your stocks and bonds and your gold and your arrowheads. I talked to a gentleman the other day who collects arrowheads. Big time. I guarantee he takes care of them. Keeps them nice and displayed and watches over them, even though, the actual cash value is not that great, but the car is different. I mean, if you buy a $100,000 car, probably 3-4 years from now, it's still worth $50,000 if you've taken care of it. But if you haven't, it'd be like a vehicle we traded for last week. Fairly late model. I'm not going to say what it is because I'm afraid they might be listening. But it could have been a very nice car, easily worth in the high 20s, low 30s. But because it's been abused and not taken care of, so many different flaws, it has some serious issues that could have been solved early on if they had it serviced here. But no, they went for convenience, and they had their oil changes at a big box store that does that. Something like a Walmart or a Target or probably Walmart. And so their vehicle was in sad shape and worth in the low teens. And that's on them. And I'd be willing to bet that they don't take care of hardly anything. You can tell a lot about people, about how they take care of their car. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm being judgmental. But it's true. I mean, they can be good people. But take care of what you own, and you will be rewarded for it. The best place to do that, if you buy a new vehicle or you buy a late model used vehicle, take it to the dealership that sells that brand. Yeah, but they give terrible service. Well, if you've had a bad experience, make sure somebody knows about it. Go complain or go to another dealer that sells that brand. They're not all bad. Matter of fact, some of them are pretty cool. I think our shop is really cool. Our waiting areas and our people, they're nice and they're friendly and they're competent. And so are our techs. Do we make mistakes? Yes. We're human. People make mistakes. What do they do when they make one, though? That's the key. Okay, I'll take my first break. I'll be back here in just a minute. In the My Car Guru guidebook, which is available to you for free, 32 pages of automotive experience and wisdom from my 47 years of doing this. Just saying that makes me feel tired. But no, I still have plenty of energy because my goal is to help people improve their car life because everybody has one. It's kind of like those stickers that you see on the back of cars that says Lake Life or Salt Life. Does that mean they like salt or that they just really like being at the beach? I never have been able to figure that one out. But yeah, the car life is very impactful. Wouldn't you agree? Doesn't your life kind of fall apart when your car's in the shop and you're without, or you have to borrow something from somebody else? In the Car Guru guidebook, I talk about the importance of complaining when you get bad service. It's very common. I had my daughter, my middle child, had to be in the hospital this weekend. Monday and Tuesday. They had to do a lot of testing. Everything's fine, but sometimes you have these aches and pains and so forth, and they need to be diagnosed. She had just hit 42. Imagine that. But she's fine. But there were very stark contrasts between the level of service that was given by different people in that hospital. And isn't it funny how people can be looking at you but looking right through you and really not listening and not providing things that you asked for until you ask the third or fourth time? Yet other people, very attentive. I mean, just jump up as soon as you walk in and look you in the eye and smile and make you feel good. And, oh my goodness, doesn't it just improve your experience when that happens? It's one of the reasons I like to go to Powell's or Chick-fil-A. They're just, I don't know. They're working hard on making their people warm and accommodating. What's McDonald's doing? Putting up screens that you have to interact with and eliminating people that you have to interact with. I don't even care if I ever go to another one of those restaurants because they don't care about people. I'd rather give people jobs, not computers, not AI. I know it's coming, but I'd rather deal with folks even though they fail sometimes. But it's a learning experience, right? So in most this is from the Car Guru Guidebook. In most new car dealerships, there's a basic organizational structure in the service department that you need to be aware of. At the bottom of the pecking order is the greeter, and I'll summarize here, and then there's the service advisor. Now, if you are having a problem and you want to escalate it, you do it nicely, and the next person you talk to is a service manager. And in some dealerships, you'd think that you were trying to talk to the President of the United States. He's not. He's just a service manager. But sometimes they think they're so important that they don't have time to talk to you. They say, well, have you talked to the service advisor? But there are others, like my dealership. If you want to talk to the service manager, all you have to do is ask for him, and here he comes. And he wants to know what he can do to help you. That's what you want to see, isn't it? Now, if you have a legitimate complaint about an issue in the right kind of dealership, you know what happens next? That week, when they have their service advisor meeting, your situation will be brought up. And they'll be talking about, okay, how can we avoid or prevent this from happening again? But if you hadn't gone in to complain, you say, I'm just going to go to Walmart. Then you haven't done them a service. You haven't done yourself a service. The only people you've helped is Walmart, and they don't need any help. So what did I do about my experience? Well, I have a buddy that is in administration in that particular hospital or that hospital conglomerate. And I just think he needs to know about it. It's a cultural thing. It's also, you can't control people's moods on a day-to-day basis when you have thousands of employees. Somebody's going to be sour. That's just the way it is. But you have to continually make them aware of it. You're not going to be able to change all the behaviors all the time. But if you change enough behaviors, most of the time, it will reflect positively on your business. So complain, but be nice. If you're really upset, I understand that. Sometimes folks need to escalate beyond the service manager, maybe talk to the general manager of the dealership. I would always do that before I complain. But please, never threaten that you are going to do something on social media if you don't get what you want, because you know what that is. That's extortion. And they can actually sue you for that. It's true. It's happening all over this country right now where people are bad-mouthing businesses or threatening to, where they go into a business and they say, if you don't give me that free oil change, then I'm going to rip you apart on Facebook. And if they have a recording of you saying that, which a lot of businesses do, they'll have cameras up all over the place and they can record what's being said, then you're in deep doo-doo. But that's the wrong way to handle it anyway. I mean, be a human. Be nice. Go in and talk to the people. Help them improve their business. They'll really, really appreciate you as a customer too. They'll treat you with kid gloves. And you want them to. When you drive into that service department, you want that service advisor to look up and say, hello, Mrs. Jones, what can we do for you today? And it's just easy. And you trust them. You like them. and they do good work, and they want to do good work for you. You go in yelling and screaming and pitching a fit. People don't want to help people like that. They probably have to, but they just really don't want to. So get to know your service advisor so he will get to know you. That's right out of the Car Guru guidebook. One of the other things that I want you to do is go get your car checked out. If it hasn't, let's say you've been going to the fast-lube place for the last 8 or 10 times, and you just don't have any relationships at the dealership. You're driving a Hyundai or a Kia or, doesn't matter what it is. Then go back to that dealership and make an appointment. Call them. Say, I need to get my car checked out for the winter. Bad weather's coming. I want to get it serviced. I want you to check my cooling system, brakes. I want an end-to-end inspection. They normally do that when they change your oil. That's one of the big advantages of going to a car dealership is they use something called a multi-point inspection form. And so they check all of this stuff, and they may find something. When you come to my dealership, for example, I invested a ton of money in this laser scanner that when you drive your vehicle into my service drive, I think it's hit with 48 different lasers, the front end. It doesn't burn holes in it. It actually measures the toe end and either the caster or the camber. I can't remember, but it tells whether your car is in alignment or not. And it doesn't cost you anything. We look up on the screen and it'll give either green or red. If it's in the red, then you need to have a front end alignment. If it's in the green, you're good to go. So that's free. But you're not going to get that at the fast lube place. Nor are you going to get all the other important systems inspected. Yeah, but they always try to sell me something. Well, it's because your vehicle is due for something. Now, I am not a big fan of flushes. The only flush, as far as a coolant flush or a transmission flush, all that stuff, the only flush that I'm interested in is the coolant system flush. I want to get all that old coolant out of there, out of the engine block, out of the heater core, get all that out of there, put fresh, high-quality coolant in my system so that winter comes, I'm protected to minus 20 degrees or whatever. And I also want to make sure that they pressure test the system, that I don't have any leaks. And then I want my battery tested. I want to know what my cold cranking amps are and how much they've deteriorated since I installed this battery. And if it's weak, then I want a new battery. And I want a battery that matches the factory specifications, what it calls for. Because as sensitive as the electrical systems are on modern vehicles, you better get exactly the right battery. So if you're driving a Honda, get a Honda battery. If you're driving a Ford, get a Ford battery. Make sure it's for your vehicle. And see what we do at the dealership and what they would do at the Honda or Toyota or Hyundai or whatever is they're going to get the battery based on what your VIN number is, your 17-digit VIN number, because that tells them what it was born with. And that's what you need to put back on it. So I want my battery good. I want my tires good. If my tread depth isn't good, and we do happen to have some bad weather, then I want to make sure that my tires have adequate tread depth and that my tires aren't too old. Really? Your tires can get too old? Yeah. They're over 7 years old. You need to replace them. And a lot of people think that, well, that's crazy, Lenny. I've never heard it. That's true, though. That's what the tire manufacturers say. You think they have a little bias built into that? They may. They just might, but the automakers suggest that as well because rubber deteriorates. It's a natural product. And over time, high temperatures, low temperatures, it starts developing cracks. And those cracks can lead to catastrophic tire failure when you're going down the road. Okay, I'm going to take my last break, and I'll be back in just 1 minuto. So I shipped out a bunch of copies of the My Car Guru guidebook yesterday. If you need one and you need it printed out, just call the dealership, 423-639-5151, and just tell whoever answers the phone, hey, I need a My Car Guru guidebook printed out, and they'll write down your name and address, and I'll send it to you. Otherwise, just send me or text me to 423-552-2020. Your email address, and I'll email you a PDF version of the My Car Guru guidebook. Now, the guidebook does not supersede the maintenance schedule or anything like that in your owner's manual. That's something else you need to review, especially if you just bought a new car. Like this lady just took delivery of the new Bronco. You know, if that thing was left in plastic, it would probably be in plastic 36 months from now. It's important that the salesman takes that out and says, you know, you really need to read this. Not the whole thing. I mean, you know, it's about the complete operation of your vehicle, but review the maintenance schedule, understand what the warranty is. Plus, she bought an extended service contract. She needs to know how that works with the factory warranty and which one, you know, you need to use and when. You know, there's so many people that buy stuff at car dealers, you know, especially in the finance office, and they forget that they have it. I mean, it's amazing. I think the number of people who buy prepaid maintenance, I think it's like 70% use it, 30% forget they have it. And they start going to these fast-lube places, and it's just wasted money. So that's why I think it's a big mistake when people don't get their paperwork out the day after they buy a car or a couple of days later, and just review everything. Make sure that, you know, what they said they were going to do, they do. Make sure that they follow up, that they wrote down somewhere that you were supposed to get free floor mats and vent visors and a free trailer hitch or whatever. Get all that stuff in writing and then review it. Just get it out on your kitchen table or wherever while you're sitting there watching Wheel of Fortune and just look at it. And just make sure, wait a minute, what's this? I didn't know I bought an extended service contract. You know, if you deal with a payment packer, and that's those dealerships that close the deal based on payment, you didn't really know what you paid for the car, and you're dealing with folks who illegally pack payments with products that you didn't know you had, then the best time to take care of that is 24 hours later. Not 48 hours, 24. You know, if you bought a car on Saturday, go in on Monday and say, listen, I don't know what all this extra stuff is, but I don't want it. I didn't agree to this. Well, you signed it. Well, I didn't know it was in there. He was shoving so many different papers in front of me, and I was just signing everything he said. I've heard that so many times. I mean, these people that listen to my show, especially locally, and then all of a sudden they come down, and it's been a year or whatever, and they say, will you look at this paperwork? I said, sure. When did you buy the car? Oh, a year ago. And I didn't know I bought all this stuff. I mean, I was wondering why this one elderly gentleman came in, and they had printed out all his stuff. Well, they didn't print it out. They put it on a flash card. And he didn't even know what that was. He said, I think they said my paperwork's on this. I put it in my computer. And I said, do you know you paid $5,000? It was over $5,000 for an extended service contract on a Nissan Altima. He said, no. I said, well, that's not good, but you can cancel it. But he had financed the vehicle, and so his cancellation was going to go to the bank. It wasn't going to do anything to his monthly payment. He wanted his payment to go down, and I said, that's not happening, you know, unless you refinance the car, and then that probably won't happen either. But you need to cancel this warranty if you don't want it, because it's extremely overpriced. And he didn't know he had bought it. He didn't remember anything, and I don't doubt that, because that's how these yahoos operate. So you just got to be careful. Read the paperwork. Know what you're signing. Don't just sign everything they put off. No, you need to sign here, sign here, sign. You know, it's the pressure, it's the speed of the transaction that they're counting on, that you won't notice what you're actually signing. It's unfortunate, but that's life. Well, thanks for listening to this edition of My Car Guru. Call me if you need me, 423-552-2020, or send me an email to LennyLawson2020@gmail.com, and I'll see you next time.